Good morning and welcome to Activities for People Living at Home with Dementia. This program, it is being recorded and will be made available for future viewing on our YouTube and other media channels. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you should like the video and subscribe to our channel to get future content. But this program is made possible through funding from Area Agency on Aging and the United Way, along with a number of other very generous sponsors. So I am Heather, your host for today's program, and we are diving into where in the world is Heather today. So
I thought at first I had the wrong screen up because it didn't have your colors on it.
I know.
Never mind. I'm sorry. That's
throwing everybody for a loop with me doing the other programs, huh?
Yep.
Let me get this one pulled up real quick. I want to show it from the beginning. Let me share this. And I need to share with sound. There we go. I think I got it. Can you see it?
Absolutely, yes.
Okie doke. Well, presently I'm at my home, not in this location. And really, truthfully, it's been a little while since I've gone to this location, but I'm excited to showcase it. Let me see. I'm going to put this down here, maybe kind of get it out of the way. So we'll start off really broad. I'm still in the United States, and I'm in a state that joined the Confederacy in 1861. I don't know how much of a clue that would offer you, but I thought I'd throw it in there. I'm in an area that I'm not actually on water. I'm not on the coast, but I'm not far from it. I'm not going to tell you which coast.
Okay.
And then
I know what coast it is roughly, I think. But go ahead.
You think East Coast or West Coast?
It's going to be East Coast.
Because of the scenery, the pictures?
No, because of the Confederacy.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
Good job. And I'm also in an area known to have raving, loud, crazy football fans. Although I wasn't there for football. I probably would have had fun though.
Yep.
Okie doke.
Yep.
So I am actually in the state of Georgia. I'm skipping ahead to just because I have so much information that I want to share with you. It is pretty fun. So I'm in Georgia. Have you ever traveled to Georgia?
Oh yeah, I've been through it a number of times.
Have you done the touristy thing or just kind of driving through?
Most of it's just been driving through. Now, my youngest daughter and her husband just bought a cabin in North Georgia in the Blue Ridge Mountains. It's about 15 minutes from North Carolina and 15 minutes from Tennessee. That's how far up it is.
Oh man, yeah. I've gone to North Georgia. I've gone to Chattanooga in the fall. I know that's like part Georgia, part Tennessee, but in the fall, there's a place that I work. They had a satellite campus on Lookout Mountain.
Yeah.
And we rented a convertible and drove all over that mountain in the fall, and it was beyond beautiful.
Okay.
But so I'm not sure how familiar you are with various locations in Georgia, but it looks like I need to kind of squeeze this in a little bit because some of the text ran off right there, but I'll read to you what some of it said. I didn't realize this until I started doing some research, that Georgia had 4 previous capital cities before it landed on Atlanta. Did you know that? Is that common?
Some states have had it that way.
I don't guess I've ever realized that was, I just thought, nope, you stamp a flag in the ground and that's where it's at, you know? But Savannah was the first capital city, and then it was Augusta where the golf tournament
Yep, the Masters is.
Masters are played. Yep. And then Louisville, I didn't know that was a thing. And then Milledgeville, didn't know that was a thing. And then Atlanta. I wonder why it kept changing. It's kind of odd.
Well, it all probably varies in the settlements, the way it was settled.
Oh, where people would start to kind of congregate.
Yeah. Savannah is right on the coast. Savannah and Augusta are right on the coast.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was probably the first settlement. And it probably just kept moving a little bit. And then Atlanta probably ended up being the larger of all the cities left. They said, well, let's put the capital here.
Let's just make it
Plus
move,
it's more in the middle of the state.
Mm-hmm. It is. It
Yeah.
is. This I'll tell you, my location is not it's a pretty good distance from Atlanta.
Yeah. Okay.
So Georgia, even though it's known as the Peach State, I learned that it's also the country's top producers of pecans, peanuts, and Vidalia onions that are known to be some of the sweetest in the world. That's pretty good.
I've been to Plains, Georgia, which is where Jimmy Carter lived. I've been there.
Have you?
Yeah.
I'm sure they have all kinds of like monuments, a little museum and stuff like that, I would imagine.
An unpretentious site. You know, of course, his house compared to a lot of the other presidents is just very plain. Mm-hmm. You know, and they're very unpretentious. You know, they were just community members. They didn't make big things. The only thing that sets them off is their house has a fence around it because of Secret Service.
Okay.
But they're out in the community all the time, or at least they used to. They're a little bit older now these days. Yeah. But, and of course, he taught Sunday school for many years at the Baptist church there.
It's like they're on a mission to not get, get bigger, just to stay relatable.
I didn't always agree. I'm sorry, I'm going back a little bit in time. I didn't always agree with his the way he did politics and his viewpoints, but I appreciate him as a man, as a person, and as a Christian. Okay. I have a lot of respect for him.
His character, yeah.
His character, yes.
That's pretty cool.
And I think that's what led problems. That's what led to problems with the presidency, is because his character was so much of a Christian character. Mm-hmm. He was so much, what am I going to say? I'm trying to think of the words. He accepted things as face value because that's the way it's supposed to be. Mm-hmm. And that's not always what it was, in politics. Mm-hmm. And so there are some things there. It wasn't the most successful presidency, but I think some of it was just because of the time frame. And he was one of the unknowns that was put in presidency. Very unknown. Nobody really knew about him until that point.
Until he made that title, yeah.
Right. And I think I don't remember who he ran against, but I think there was a taintedness of the other party, of the Republican Party at that point in time, that people said, we don't want them.
Yeah. And plus, so he was what was left over.
Right. And he was from the South, and at that point, Southern Democrats were still very strong.
Mm. What part of Georgia did you say his house?
Plains, Georgia.
Plains, Georgia.
South of Atlanta. Not that far from, I'm trying to remember where it is. It's south of Atlanta, pretty much close south Atlanta.
Okay. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting. I go in and out of Atlanta sometimes. I may try to scout around and go see it. That'd be kind of cool. And that's funny to think too, that the reason the fence is up around the house is because of the Secret Service,
And Sue and I spent 12 weeks at Callaway Gardens up in Pine Mountain, Georgia.
That's North Georgia?
It's north of Atlanta. Okay. Uh-huh. It's gotta think you know. I'll get the name of it. Columbia, and a couple others in there. But so it's northwest of Atlanta,
Okay.
the mountain.
Over towards Alabama. That's where that's the
Yeah.
Alabama line, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That's where the International Mission Board had their missionary orientation for a number of years at Pine Mountain, Georgia.
I bet it's pretty. It was,
Oh,
I mean, I'm telling you, it's real. I say I'm telling you, but I just think it's real pretty. I also, did you know too that Georgia was founded specifically as a place for felons to go live? You knew that?
Yeah, I didn't know that part.
How did you learn that? Is that something you learned in school?
I read a lot of history.
Oh man.
Absorb things, and those at that point in time, the English were trying to find a lot of places to send the felons and the debtors and the prisoners, and of course Australia ended up being one of those areas too. They sent people.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I knew that about Australia, but
Georgia was one of the penal colonies from England.
Penal colonies, yeah, that would make sense.
Oh.
There was a clip I was gonna show you, and I was gonna see when's the last time you saw this clip. I know you've seen it. I'm just curious when's the last time it was that you've seen it. Find it real quick. Share this screen. When's the last time you saw him perform Georgia on My Mind?
Long time ago.
Georgia, whoa, Georgia, hit a whole day through. Just this one sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind.
He's got that voice that is just as classic as the day is long.
Right.
I know Willie Nelson also sang
He
that.
sang, yeah, he did.
Was there anyone else that famously sang that song?
I can't remember. Okay, I was mistaken. Pine Mountain is southwest of Atlanta, along the Alabama border. It's north of Columbus. Anyway, it's just in the mountains.
What else is over there? Southwest of Atlanta.
Let me see. I'm looking at a map, so I'm trying to think. Of course, there's a big military base.
I'm drawing a blank. Mm-hmm.
Fort Benning is over there.
That's a huge one.
Yeah, it is huge. Let me think. LaGrange.
I was looking at a map earlier, and I was trying to think because I recognized some of the cities southwest of Atlanta.
Sulphur Springs, where Roosevelt went, is there. There's
a Sulphur Springs, Georgia, and a Sulphur Springs, Arkansas.
There's
Sulphur Springs, Texas.
White Sulphur Springs.
White
and
Sulphur Springs, yeah.
President Roosevelt went to get treatment.
Okay.
Anyway, it's just kind of it's a very beautiful area. Very beautiful.
It sounds like it.
We spent a lot of time there, enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I spent about, I think, almost 2.5 weeks in South Georgia, speaking at a whole bunch of church and mission churches in small little communities.
Oh, nice.
Albany, I think, was the largest, but there was a bunch of others who went to. And I wasn't the only one. We had about 12, 13, 12, 14 different missionaries, and they scattered us throughout the whole big region. You know, and we do one a day, you know, one evening a day. And I remember one of them was right on the Florida Georgia border, because Tallahassee was the largest airport closest airport to that.
Yeah.
But we did one. It was right on the Florida Georgia border, a little country church. But I tell you what, it was alive. You know, some of the churches were in.
It's spirit filled. It doesn't matter how small it is.
Some of these churches went in, or you just kind of felt, oh, you know, just stayed. Nothing, you know, like that. Now, the people were there, but you couldn't really feel much movement going on.
Yeah.
This little one right on the border. It was out in the country. Okay, you had to drive through the forest to get there, and the thing was just rocking. People were coming from all over the place.
Oh, it was known.
Pastor was a great pastor, and he, you know, people were coming from Florida and all parts of Georgia just because of him. You know, and you know,
I spoke on to something good.
Yeah, I spoke in one of the larger churches in that whole region. I think the first Sunday there, I can't remember what it was, because they wanted me to speak at First Baptist. Okay. So I spoke at the First Baptist, and it was a very typical First Baptist. Okay? I'm not putting that down. Okay, I love for it. I've been pastors in First Baptists and worked in them, but it was very much a traditional. Okay, I say, very traditional.
Okay.
Kind of way it is. Okay. Anyway, okay, I'm sorry. I got you off track. Let's go.
No, it's good. I'm sure it's nice reminiscing about the work that you've done, especially work of that caliber, you know. The place, so, and where in the world is Heather? The place that I am, there are a couple of things that are well known in this area: the Coca-Cola Space Science Center, the Chattahoochee River Walk, and whitewater rafting.
Okay.
Any thoughts on where I might be in Georgia?
Not yet.
Okay. So I want to tell you a little bit about these three. So the Coca-Cola Space Science Center, there is an observatory, West Rock Observatory, and it's operated by the university that's there. It's a pretty decent sized university there. It was established in the 90s, but they have programs that are open to the public where people can come in and watch the night sky, and they do education and everything for people to, you know, learn a little bit, just open to the general public in addition to, you know, the students. But they also have mobile astronomy programs. I thought that was kind of cool, where they go out and do different outreach all throughout Georgia and Alabama. And it's sponsored by that university there.
Okay.
Called the Coca-Cola Space Science Center.
Okay.
And let's see, it is, the next one is the Chattahoochee River Walk. Does that sound familiar? Or
no, that's all right. That's all right. No.
It didn't sound familiar to me until I was like, because I didn't go, whenever I was at this location, I didn't go to the River Walk. And I'm kicking myself because I know I would have loved it. But the only thing that's familiar to me is that Alan Jackson song, "Way Down Yonder on the Chattahoochee," you know.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, oh man, he made that famous. But it is this river walk. It's 22 miles long, and it's known for being a really great kept up place for people to walk and cycle. And because it's so long and it's so well maintained, it's known by cyclists all over the nation as one of the best, you know, cycle friendly communities. So I thought that was kind of neat, just a small town feel, but it gets a lot of fanfare from that niche. Plus, you know, Alan Jackson made the Chattahoochee famous.
Okay.
And then also through this little area, the Chattahoochee River runs pretty rapidly, and a lot of mom and pop businesses have opened up whitewater rafting and kayaking lessons and all of that kind of stuff. So a lot of people come to this area specifically to play around in the water.
Okay.
Have you ever done any whitewater rafting?
I've done a little bit, not much. Not much.
I did. I used to go whenever I was younger. I used to go every single year to the, we'd raft the Guadalupe.
Okay.
Let's see. So I didn't do any of the fun stuff, you know, the touristy stuff, because I actually came to this area specifically to work. And whenever I went, I was there to receive over 150 seniors that were living on the coast of Georgia, and they were coming inland to evacuate because of a hurricane.
Okay.
So where I am, it's not very close to the coast. Any thoughts on where I am?
Okay, I'm trying to think here. Columbus?
It's a pretty good guess. How confident are you?
I am not 100%.
Well, you should be, because you would have gotten it right.
Yeah, okay.
Columbus, Georgia. So I was working with 2 different senior living communities
Okay.
that had independent living, assisted living, and memory care. And we all brought them to one place, to a senior living community. So we basically had 3 large groups of people all together, and it was, I will not do it that way ever again, but we did keep everybody safe. It was mass chaos. But we did have a local church that ordered a lot of pizzas and sodas and stuff for us, for the, you know, the people who are working. And I thought it was funny. We kind of had fun with them, because one of the kids here in this picture from one of the churches, he was going around handing out pizzas to everybody. And he said, I said, man, you need to have a tip jar. You're working your tail off. You need to be tipped for, you know, passing out all these pizzas. And he said, no. So I finally got him, you know, first time he actually took a $1 bill from somebody, but their car was loaded down with pizzas. There were just some local churches that came in and helped.
I can understand your experiences from doing disaster relief.
Say that again.
I understand some of your experiences in that from doing disaster relief, where you have to take care of all these displaced people.
And the people who were taking care of the displaced people.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's it was a big to do. So there's so you mentioned Fort Benning, and that's in Columbus, and that's a huge Army post there. And
yes,
it's apparently this base has more than 120,000 active duty military and family, and there are also some reserve units tied to them as well, plus like civilian contractors and stuff. But they have a major they are responsible for the majority of people in Columbus. That's the reason they're there.
Yeah.
But it's also, Columbus, Georgia is also known as the Fountain City. And if you ever do go to Columbus, you'll see that all throughout the city, there are these really cool, some are just really small and simple, and some are large, and like the central, you know, it's like a central part of a park or something, but all of these fountains were put in the late 90s all throughout the town for some reason, but it's beautiful. A lot of running trails and stuff. It's really a nice, it feels like a big small town. But the coolest part is apparently Coca-Cola is rumored to have started in Atlanta, but apparently it really actually started in Columbus. And one story that I read about this online was the person who, it was a pharmacist who invented Coca-Cola, but he was trying to find a recipe for a medication that would help to curb his, he had an opioid habit addiction.
Yes.
And he was trying to find something that would curb that. And that somehow evolved into Coke, which then turned into Coca-Cola. And 125 years later, it's still there. I just always thought it came from Atlanta.
Now,
Have you ever been to Go ahead.
When we were there in Columbus, of course, this was back in the early 80s. They didn't have all of the fountains type of thing, but I do remember along the river there, they had an old foundry from the Civil War, you know, where they made cannonballs and cannons and things like that. So all this historical things you could see along the river. It was really kind of interesting. Okay,
I bet it was, especially, you know, I mean, I know that they have a lot of military like statues and different, you know, different things to.
They had also folk culture, what do they call it? Fairs and exhibitions where people would come in and bring their stuff, and they'd have performers, you
like
know,
reenactments.
Yeah, well, they'd have performers doing traditional dances and singing and all of that, you know, the shape note music, you know, from that thing, and all of that. It was really beautiful. It was, you know, we had fun. We went there, I think, a couple times because they had several weekends. It was like that whole fair was several weekends long, and it was fun because it was good. We enjoyed it.
I bet, especially if the weather's nice. It's some of the best. And then I had never heard of this before. Apparently it's pretty small, but for locals, it's an annual thing. But every spring, there are races, like dragon races, and it's boats that are decorated and shaped like various degrees of extravagance of dragons, and they race down the river. Apparently the prize is bragging rights, but it's a whole thing.
Thailand on the Mekong River.
Really?
Yeah.
I wonder if that's where it originated, and then somebody said, we've got to do that here down the river.
They have teams, and one of my missionary friends got on a team one year, and he says he was never so exhausted when he's done it, you know, and all these Thai guys, they're just going in there, and he's a strong guy, and he was just
it whooped him.
but it helped his reputation in the community that he was part of this, you know, type of thing.
Yeah, so he was an active part of the culture.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's
plus
pretty
his
funny.
wife was Thai, so that helped too. But yeah, anyway.
Well, I want to show you. These were a couple of the experiences I had while I was there.
Oh yeah, please. I'd like to.
Can you see the screen with the television? Is there a picture of the TV on your screen?
It's a yes.
Okay, so it's like a TV on the screen with the it's a TV on this. Say that again.
It says let the cats in. That's what I heard.
Oh, I don't know what that is. Hold on, let me stop sharing real quick.
Sure, no problem. It happens all the time with my wife. All of a sudden, the screen will come off. Something will start talking to her. Music will playing. Where did that come from? You know.
Too funny.
And usually it's from a tab that she didn't close out. You know, there's something in the background. And she's famous. She has. I can't do it, but she'd have probably 10, 12 tabs open on her.
Oh, that's how I operate. Yeah.
I can't do that, you know. But she knows exactly where to go on each one. I can't do that. I maybe want one or two open, but I can't do more than that. You know, it's just, I get lost. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I keep it, I do that because that's like my things to do list. And as I mark things off my things to do list, I close the tab. So I'll tell you, the audio on this is not really great because I was in a community getting ready to receive these displaced folks from the coast.
Okay.
But we had made the local news because of what we were doing. And so I just happened to notice on one of the televisions in the foyer, the local news was on, and they were doing a story on us. So I grabbed my phone real quick to take a video. So the audio isn't really great. You might have to turn the volume up a little bit, but this was a little news clip about what we were doing.
Okay.
Volume up.
Well, that's Mother Nature. She knows what she's doing, but we just need to be prepared.
As Hurricane Dorian makes its way up the East Coast, evacuations are in order.
To be clear, it's a serious event when we got a hurricane heading towards the shore. At the same time, you can't control what happens in life, but we can always control our response to it.
That's why a local living facility for seniors in Columbus are opening their doors and their hearts to those who were forced to evacuate, waiting at the doors for those who drove hours for shelter. With a red carpet welcome.
Unless you have a place to stay, you have to leave where you're living.
More than 400 people from areas like Savannah and Florida will be able to stay at the facility until the storm clears. Residents say since they had no other place to go, they would have rode out the storm, but they're thankful for a helping hand and open arms.
God's in control. He's always with us, and He knows what the outcome will be.
And we're told there is a second location where they're taking independent residents to the Doubletree Hotel on St. Simon Boulevard. They say the stay could be up to a couple days or last up until Friday. Live in Columbus, Tom Sloan, reporting for News at 9 on Fox 54.
So I thought that was pretty neat because he was actually just outside the front door. And so I was inside the door that's behind him as he's doing that live broadcast. That's where I was inside watching the TV. So
Now,
I thought,
was that
wow.
was that another care facility from that same organization?
It was a sister community. Yeah.
Okay. All right. In there. I wish I was. I say.
I'm sorry. Hold on. I apologize.
I'd love to do some things like that, but I can't.
You would love to do what now?
I'll help with things like that, but I just can't,
Yeah.
They'd probably be helping me. That's one of the reasons I got out of the state guard is I realized I was there to help people and they would probably have to help me. And that wasn't going to be a good thing, type of thing. So
it could be a mutual thing.
Yeah.
This was can you see the picture of the two ladies?
Yes.
At the desk? This was one of our little command centers where we were coordinating all kinds of stuff, and we had water and coffee and bubble gum, and that's what we were running off of for a while. And it was one of our nurses, and she was talking to one of the ladies who was taking a nap on the couch. And then one day we found a restaurant that was open, and a couple of us actually just said, I don't want anything to eat. I just want a glass of wine and I want a nap. And so that's what we did. Let's see. So that was somebody made a mess on the couch. And so I took the stuff out and cleaned it. And it was always a big thing. We had people playing the piano and entertaining other people. And some of the people who were working there coordinating who goes to what room, and and then once we would get people in the right place, then we would send a message to their family, because we wanted to work smarter, not harder. And so we had a text message that would go out to family members and say, your loved one has arrived. They were just shown to their room. As soon as we get as soon as the dust settles, we'll be making an actual in-person telephone call to you. Stay by the phone for updates. And so then their families would be, always in the loop as well. And then of course the pizza. And then at the very end of it all, we had these charter buses that bussed people back to their location after the hurricane came through, and we had their buildings inspected to make sure they were still
Right.
safe.
Yeah.
So then people could go on back home. There you
Yeah.
go. It was
Yeah.
pretty fun.
It sounds like I would enjoyed that, Heather.
Yeah. There's a group called Texas Baptist Ministries.
I was a part of that for many years.
Oh, really? I'm going through their orientation on the 20th.
Okay. I was a chaplain with them for a number of years.
Nice. I'll have to let you know how my orientation went.
I think the only training I did not go through was the heavy equipment. I didn't really go through the chainsaw training, but I had to have enough knowledge of that, because the chaplain had to have a knowledge of every different ministry they did to be able to effectively minister. Okay. So I didn't do blue tarp, which is the tarp ministry over the roof. I knew all the people, I knew them, but I didn't do that.
Yeah.
And I didn't do the heavy equipment, type of thing. I think I was trained with almost everything, in
Nice.
that.
I'm doing the training on the fire recovery and the flood recovery.
Yeah. My wife was too. She was a chaplain also. And we're also trained with Southern Baptist of Texas to do the same thing. So we had both, we go both ways. And my daughter Rebecca, when they had all the flooding down in San Marcos, my daughter Rebecca went to Waverly with Southern Baptist of Texas, and I went to San Marcos with Texas Baptist Men.
Oh, nice.
So, we were all down there together,
Yeah.
Then met up at the very end.
People in their times of darkness,
Yeah. I had a lot of that. And of course, then I went to the Guard, and I had a talk with the lady who was then the head of the chaplains. And I said, this is where I feel. And she said, don't feel bad. That's where you feel God's calling you, and we're going to do a good job. So, but we kept in touch, but she's not the head of chaplains anymore. She was an older, she kind of bowed out of the administrative position. She's still there, but bowed out of the administrative position.
I kind of said hands off some of the responsibilities.
A lot of people involved in it. And Denton County had a very special unit. I think there's only a couple of them in the United States. Denton County started as basically, it's a unit that goes out and provides, how do I say it? What's the best way to say it? It provides support. So it provides a charging station for cell phones. Okay, so people can bring in their cell phones to get charged, plus a link for a Wi-Fi link, for people to do things.
Just stay connected.
Yeah, and it's it's runoff generators, the whole thing. So it's got and it's really one of the few in the United States. They've when it was really getting going. Of course, the fellow that came up with it has now since passed away.
Oh,
but they were doing people coming from all over the United States to see what it was like.
Okay.
Because that was a very crucial ministry. You get people all these things. Well,
you're meeting their basic necessities, and so you have an opportunity to minister.
How are they going to get charged, and all sorts of things like that. And so it was really neat, because it had solar panels and had all sorts of things, and towers and communications and stuff like that within it. It was really neat.
They had it all figured out.
Yeah, they had it figured out, and they did a lot of things, because they could go down to, it's kind of like you go into these disaster reliefs. You got the command center, but they also have other units that are kind of like their communications units. Now sometimes they're run not by Texas by the men, they're run by the state guard or the telephone companies or the military or something like that, but they're still part of this whole communication part.
Yeah.
That people communicate with,
That's kind of neat. I think it'd be interesting to see how it's evolved over time. Like, for example, right now, I know that it was a couple years back. There was a hurricane that came in and flooded a lot of Houston and some coastal areas, and Jason and I loaded up our boat, and some MREs and camp gear
Yeah.
and stuff, and chainsaws and gas cans and all that good stuff, and went out there to help. And there was a group from the Cajun Navy, and they had an app on their phones. Everybody was able to stay tuned on an app on their phones, and there were different channels on the app that was kind of like a big dispatch center, and people could call in their location and everything, and they would coordinate who's in the area to go and help them. And I mean, I couldn't imagine trying to help masses of people without modern day, equipment, but then you still have to maintain that modern day equipment.
Right. Yeah. That's Hurricane Harvey. I was down in Corpus Christi for that. And at the very end, we had a guy that pulled up. We were at one of our feeding stations, distribution stations. A guy pulled up with his fishing boat, loaded with stuff. He says, well, I don't want anything. We were just going home. We decided just to load up some stuff and bring you down here because we just come out of Houston or wherever type of thing.
Yeah.
So he load this thing with food and clothes.
To the gills, huh?
Get them away. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so good.
It is.
Yeah.
And you will enjoy it, Heather. Okay.
I think so.
It's stressful, but you'll enjoy it because of the family camaraderie that you have there. Okay.
Yeah. I'll have to let you know how it goes.
Yes, please do.
About it.
Please do. It's to me, it was a great time. I really enjoyed it.
Good.
Because I was in there as with the Texas Baptist Band. Of course, I did San Marcos. I did the Rockwall hurricanes. Not hurricane, tornadoes.
The tornadoes, That was right around Christmas one year, wasn't it?
A number of other places, different things I've done. Some of them very short, some of them longer.
Yeah. Texas Baptist Ministry has people in Ukraine right now too, if you can believe that.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Here's one of the neat things. Okay, I'm just saying to say this, okay, because it's part of the Southern Baptist Convention. Okay. In the hierarchy of disaster relief needs in the United States, okay, the main people that the government goes to is the Red Cross, Salvation Army, and the Baptist Ministries. Those are the top three.
I didn't know Baptist Ministries was so large that they were right there with Red Cross and Salvation Army.
The Baptist Ministries just work like this. They're just together.
Oh, yeah.
They work hand in hand because there's so much similarities, things like that.
And how they operate and what they do.
They'll say, okay, we need this, or they'll come and help us do this. And sometimes they'll come and help do the feeding, and we'll help do them some of the other stuff. In Rockwall, we were Salvation Army came through with their mobile vans to hand out things to everybody, in the community and things like that. So they came to us and say, we're the people that really need this. So we could say, okay, here, so they could hand them out to us. So we work together. In fact, the director of the Salvation Army in Texas and the Texas Baptist Man, I was in an annual training a few years ago, it's quite a few years ago now. He was there because they're doing at that point a partnership. Now, I don't think it ever came to fruition, but basically, the proposal for partnership with the state of Texas to provide at all the rest stops from Houston north, people that would have water and snacks and things like that.
Along the evacuation route?
Evacuation route, yeah. And Salvation Army was tasked with that. Of course, then it also, the state guard too was in all part of that too, but it was kind of a neat, because there's a lot of similarities, but you'll enjoy it. I'm sorry, I'm talking, Heather, and I just.
No, it's good. I didn't know that we would have that in common, so that's kind of nice. I like it. I'll definitely have to let you know how it goes. It's later. It's at the end of this month.
Okay, good. Where's it going to be at?
Somewhere somewhere in Weatherford. I don't remember the location right offhand, but it's
Yeah.
local. It's local to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
See, I did most of my training in Denton County, but then they usually have once a year, they have an annual training.
Uh-huh.
It's like at a retreat center type of thing, and people come from all over the state can come, and they'll have days and days of seminars and specialties and training, things like that you can go through. And it's kind of a neat, you of course you got to pay for it, but
Mhm.
you don't pay much, It's
No,
basically-
it was minimal. And I think most of it went to the lunch that's provided and the background check
Right.
that they run on you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, the background check, because they got to do a background check on everybody. They
Yeah,
can't get
better
away
safe
with
than
that.
sorry. I'd rather have it do it and it not be needed than they should have done it,
Now, the problem with some of the people from the outside who said, "Oh, I want to help you," and they'd say, "Well, you have to go through a background check," and they said, "No." Okay.
That's okay.
So,
I don't want to help you that bad.
I don't know how many background checks I've gone through in my life because of Texas Baptist men and being a teacher. We gun permit.
Mhm.
You have to have a background check.
Yeah.
Everything.
We go
You know,
through
back-
all kinds of checks pretty routinely with Jason's security clearance. We have to.
Right, and I think even some of the healthcare professions have to have security checks, background checks.
Mhm.
My daughter Sarah, who works for Northrop Grumman, it took her a long time to get her security clearance when she was working with Boeing because she lived outside of America for so many years.
Oh yeah, that'd be hard to track down.
And
Yeah.
so they had to find people from there that would verify who she was,
Mhm.
type of thing. So it took quite a while for the FBI to chase down all of this information.
Oh yeah.
Here,
And
because-
outside countries don't operate systems like we
Well,
do. And
No, but
Yeah.
fortunately, they were able to tie in some of the folks that we worked with, the organization, International Mission Board,
yeah,
so
it
they
would
could
make it easier.
do some verification, things like that with them.
Yeah.
And so she was able to eventually get it, and now she's up there,
Yeah.
Well, every project she works on, she can't tell us what she has to do, or she
Yeah.
has to tell us, type of thing.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
She keeps asking us to give her a project that's non-security related, so she can at least tell her
So
family
she
what
can at least tell you
Yeah.
about her day.
Now, some of the projects she's told about afterwards, things like that. But when it's all been released to the public type of thing, and she could say, "Oh, I'm part of this," and that type of thing. But a lot of it she can't.
Yeah.
No.
Mhm.
Yep. And we say, we don't ply our questions. We let her
No.
go.
Yeah.
She'll
You
tell
learn
us
not
if
to ask questions.
Nope, not at all.
I'm with
No,
you.
so-
I know. I get it.
Well,
Well, this
Sarah,
was nice, Steve. I appreciate it.
Heather, I thank you so much for this. This has been great.
I enjoy it. I enjoy your stories too. This is good. You have a lot of experiences and wisdom you can share, and I like it.
Well, good thing. I'm going to tell you, okay, with disaster relief.
Yes.
Make sure you have a good air mattress,
Okay.
because you're not always going to have to, you're probably going to sleep on the church floors many
Okay.
times, okay? Have a good flashlight with you.
Mm-hmm.
Have clothes for kind of almost all weather,
Okay.
not always
Clothes
have
that
to
you
be
can
the
layer.
season, but have, you got to have some long sleeve shirts as well as short sleeve shirts. Just things like that, make sure you got your basic medical stuff with you, make sure you got sunscreen, bug spray,
Your fundamental toiletries.
fundamental stuff with you all the time, type of thing. And then if you get into it, I don't think I have any Bibles more, but I have some. I have to ask my wife, but I've got some mini beanie babies
Yeah.
that are still wrapped the way I used to give out.
Oh
Okay.
yeah. So like kids that were, having to sit around and wait.
Great opening for kids to go over and present them with something, in there. And so I've still got some of those. So if
Fun.
you get into it, let me know and I'll make sure you get them.
Thank you. I
in there.
appreciate it. That'll be
Otherwise, they're
fun.
just sitting on the
Otherwise,
shelf.
they're just sitting there. Yeah. And they can be doing some
Yeah.
kids some good somewhere.
Yeah. So anyway, that was really was a good opener, going into the communities with people and meeting with the families and the kids, and sometimes those animals, those stuffed animals would just, it opened up the adults' lives
Mhm.
to receiving you because they saw you welcoming their kids.
Okay.
So
I can
anyway, okay.
I can imagine that. I
Yeah.
can imagine. I'm looking forward to sharing stories with
Good.
you.
I'm looking forward to hearing from you.
That'd be good.
Yes.
So tomorrow it's the artful moments all day long in all
Okay.
three. Which do you
I'll just choose one of the times. I'm not sure, since they're all three,
sounds like a plan, Stan?
because they're going to be the same program all three
Sure.
times. So
The theme is boat.
yeah,
Boats.
boats, not ships, boats.
Mhm.
You got to know that. I've got a good friend who is a retired naval commander, and you never say,
You
"Oh,
never
John,
say
what
it's
are
on
you
a
doing on the
boat.
boat?" You don't say boats.
No.
That is ship. I was not even on a boat.
I made that mistake whenever we met the captain on a cruise. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is such a big boat. Well, it's not a boat. I was like,
Boats. Yeah, that's right.
sorry, didn't mean to step on toes there, sir.
Of course, with John, you get him riled up, and he starts talking about, "Oh, well, this is why this is a boat, and or a ship, And so we finally told her we've got a lady in our group that water skis. Okay, the family does a lot of water skiing. I says, okay, so Amy has a boat that goes to the lake. John was on a ship that would never be on Lake Louisville.
Yeah.
Okay, now we understand, type of thing. So anyway, Heather, I thank you so much. This has been great. I enjoyed it.
I know, I enjoyed it. I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, took me back down memory lane.
I like it.
So thank you, Heather.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have a good one.